Hello and welcome to Music Monday, or welcome to Charity's Treasures, and today is Music Monday. So this is exciting. I am first going to read the words to If You Could Hie to Kolob. If you could hie to Kolob in the twinkling of an eye, and then continue onward with that same speed to fly, do you think that you could ever, through all eternity, find out the generation where gods began to be? Today, we're just going to talk a little bit about the history of the hymn and about some of the meaning of the words. So, the hymn explores the idea of infinite progression, arguing that there is no end to matter, spirit, space, and of God's creations, which totally makes sense. The word hie, H-I-E, is an archaic English term that means to go quickly, hasten, or speed, if you could travel to Kolob at the speed of light or instantaneously. The song is not about hiding, but rather traveling rapidly to a place representing the center of God's power. Wow, that's cool, right? The place where God resides. Kolob, the hymn was written, the hymn was written in 1842 by W.W. Phelps, and explores the idea of eternity, the vastness of God's creations, and the speed at which one might travel to reach God's presence. Twinkling of an eye. That's how God probably reaches us, right? Just, in the twinkling of an eye. Kolob is a star / planet described in the book of Abraham, which I'm going to tell you about in 1 second. A sacred text written within the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. That's the book of Abraham. So Kolob is a star as being nearest to the throne of God. It is characterized as a governing body that dictates the time and order of other celestial bodies, including our earth, right? Often understood as the place from where God governs other planets, and is sometimes used symbolically to represent Jesus Christ, which is really cool, like the sun represents Jesus Christ. Twinkling. The meaning of twinkling is shining with a gleam that changes from bright to faint, right? We kind of all know what that is. So according to Abraham 3, one revolution of Kolob, I might have been saying that wrong in the beginning, equals 1,000 Earth years. So 1 day in God's time equals 1,000 Earth years, described as 1 day unto the Lord. So, which makes sense. 7 days of Earth, it took 7 days for the Earth to be created. Each in God's time is 1,000 years. The Earth is 7,000 years old. Makes perfect sense, right? So it was revealed to the prophet Abraham via the and Thummim, which we will talk about later in the year because that will come up often, according to the book of Abraham, which was translated by Joseph Smith. So while some interpret the hymn literally as a space travel scenario, kind of like that, space travel. We're going to be talking a little bit about that, as Charlie Kirk thought that he was a space traveler. It is often viewed symbolically to reflect the immense distance between humanity and God and the search for God. Where did the book of Moses and Abraham come from? The book of Moses is an extract from the book of Genesis, which means when Joseph Smith was on the earth, he translated Matthew, parts of Matthew. He didn't change the parts that were already there. He added to it, right? And so this is what the book of Moses is, which makes sense because we know our church believes that the Bible, as far as it is translated correctly, which means we don't think that what is there is wrong necessarily, but we think that there might have been things in the text that was translated that is not there right now. And so when Joseph Smith translated Matthew, that's basically what he did. God instructed him on what he needed to translate and add to what was missing. So you have to imagine and you have to think that there are things missing from the Bible. It wasn't perfectly translated because it went through so many different translations. So even though what is there is good and correct, there might be some things missing from a lot of the text, right? If Joseph Smith was on the earth longer, we probably would have seen more translations, but he died very young, so we didn't see that, and God didn't have anybody else try to translate any other material in the Bible. But Joseph Smith did this with Genesis, and this is what's called Moses. And you'll see the similarities between Genesis and Moses if you go to the Pearl of Great Price. Okay, so Joseph Smith did this and began this process in June 1830 with the Book of Moses. And the Book of Abraham is a little bit different because there was actually some writings, Egyptian papyri. Anyways, you know what I'm saying. I don't know if I'm saying that. Papyri. Egyptian papyri. Anyways, there was some Egyptian writings that were found, and Joseph got a hold of these writings, and there's a whole history of it you can look up. But Joseph translated these writings from this Egyptian papyri, and this is the Book of Abraham. It was here for a little while, and then I think the records got destroyed. Someone else got a hold of the writings, but there's a history about that too, but we don't have time to go into that today. And this was in 1835 when Joseph was translating from this Egyptian papyri. Okay, so Abraham 3. I'm just going to read a little bit of Abraham 3 and Moses in case you're not a member of the church and you don't understand what is Abraham and Moses. So these are parts of Abraham chapter 3. If you go there, you can read the whole entire thing. So Abraham learns about the sun, the moon, and the stars in Abraham chapter 3. And he learns this by the and Thummim. The Lord reveals to him eternal nature of spirits. He learns of pre-earth life, foreordination, the creation, the choosing of a redeemer, and the sacred estate of man. So this is verse 1. That was just the heading of Abraham 3. And I, Abraham, had the and Thummim, which the Lord my God had given unto me in the in of Chaldees. And I saw the stars. They were very great. So he's using this and Thummim, right? To get this information from God. We'll talk about that later. This is a whole thing, and I don't have time to go into it now, but he says, and I saw the stars through this and Thummim, that they were very great, and that one of them was nearest unto the throne of God. And there were many great ones, which were not near unto it, which were near unto it. And the Lord said unto me, Abraham, these are the governing ones, the governing stars. And the name of the great one is Kolob, because it is near unto me. For I am the Lord thy God. So the Lord is somewhere, right? And there's this great, wonderful star named Kolob, and it is the one nearest to God, which represents Jesus Christ, right? Because it is near unto me, for I am the Lord thy God. I have set this one to govern all those which belong to the same order as that upon which thou standest. Which Abraham's standing on the earth, right? He's standing on this earth when God's talking to him. And the Lord said unto Abraham, by the and Thummim, again, that Kolob was after the manner of the Lord, according to his times and seasons, in the revolutions thereof. That one revolution was a day unto the Lord, after his manner of reckoning, it being 1,000 years, according to the time appointed unto that whereon thou standest, which I said earlier. This is the reckoning of the Lord's time, according to the reckoning of Kolob. So that was Abraham 3. Moses 1 says, and God spake unto Moses, saying, behold, I am the Lord God Almighty, and endless is my name, for I am without beginning of days or end of years, and is not this endless? And behold, thou art my son, wherefore look, and I will show thee the workmanship of mine hands, but not all, for my works are without end, and also my words, for they never cease. And worlds without number have I created, which I talked about yesterday. We're going to talk about worlds without number that God created. How exciting is that? Here we know that he has created other worlds, and they could be out there right now. And he goes on, and I also created them. All these worlds he created for his own purposes. And by the Son, I created them, which we know Jesus Christ created this earth with Michael, right? And so he created all these other earths that are out there, which is mine only begotten. And the first man of all men have I called Adam, which is many. What is he telling us? That there's many Adams, many Eves out there on these earths that Jesus created. But only an account of this earth and the inhabitants thereof give I unto you. So he's saying, Moses, I am only going to give you information on where you are right now, this earth, not the other earths, just this one. But we know that there are other earths because of this Moses doctrine. For behold, there are many worlds that have passed away by the word of my power. So some have passed away. I imagine there's still some existing right now. And there are many that now stand. Well, yeah. So there's many that now stand. So we're not the only ones out in this vast universe, right? And innumerable are they unto man. There's earths out there right now that we can't even count because we don't even understand what kind of big number that is. But all things are numbered unto me, for they are mine, and I know them. And it came to pass that Moses spake unto the Lord, saying, Be merciful unto thy servant, O God, and tell me concerning this earth and the inhabitants thereof, and also the heavens, and then I will be content. And the Lord said to Moses, The heavens, they are many, Moses, and they cannot be numbered unto man, but they are numbered unto me, for they are mine. And as one earth shall pass away, and the heavens thereof, even so shall another come. One passes away, and another comes. And there's no end to my works, neither to my words. For behold, this is my work, and my glory, to bring to pass the immortality and eternal life of man. Okay, so that was Abraham. So as I think about this song, and when it says, if you could hie to Kolob in the twinkling of an eye, and then continue onward with that same speed to fly, I think about how we get to travel to Kolob, like quickly, right? And then we get to continue onward. It's like we're being told that Kolob is not all there is, and that there is so much more than even this, which is so great and wonderful. And we get to fly at that same speed that we did when we flew to Kolob. We get to fly to other places beyond Kolob, right? I love the word fly. I have so many dreams about flying. You guys don't even know the dreams that I have. But I'm going to talk about this a little bit in this book series that I'm publishing. Hopefully I'll get 2 or 3 books published this year. So, and I wake up from these dreams where I'm flying and I think I can get out of my bed and fly. I literally want to I'm thinking, oh, I can still fly. Sadly, I really can't still fly once I wake up from my dreams. But in my dream, especially dreams that are lucid, which we will talk about this year, we're trying to talk about lucid dreams. I literally feel like God took me out of my mortal body and allowed me to fly around. I know that that's what he did. I've had so many dreams in my life about flying that I just love the idea of it. So this song, when I sing it and when I read the words, I feel like God is letting me fly around as I'm singing this song. And when I sing, I feel like he's taking me to Kolob in this moment. And I can actually see when I sing this song where he resides, especially if I get really into it, like that day. So I can see it because in my dreams, he has taken me there. You guys don't even know what I have seen when it comes to possible this could be the place, Kolob, that I see in my dreams, which will be in my book. So why does he take me there? Why does he take me there? He takes me there because he loves me. I'm so grateful he loves me. He takes me to these beautiful places in my dreams because he loves me. And he wants me to be happy when I sing this song. So this is what I think about when I sing this song. When we think of twinkling, we think about when we see someone's eye shine, like in a movie, you see the twinkling and then you see it kind of fade. When we see Kolob, I imagine that we would have this same twinkle in our eye, right? And when we see it, it's amazing. Then we get to continue onward. So that twinkle only lasts for a second because we're going somewhere else now. It goes on to say, do you think that we could ever, through all eternity, find out the generations where gods began to be? What it's saying to me is that when we reach Kolob, quicker than quick, right? And when we go onward beyond Kolob with that same speed and momentum, then basically we go on from wherever we end up there and we go to another place. It's like we're skipping around from place to place after we reach Kolob, which is the first place we go, right? And we do this throughout all eternity. Time travel, right? Exciting, yes? So we ask the question, do we think we can find out the generations where gods began to be? I love this because we're going to be talking about generations this year and about how important it is to record our story and the generations of our ancestors' story. So I wrote this book about my grandmother, and I'm in the process of trying to start writing a book about my other grandparents, my grandpa and grandma Lovshin. And my mom and I are excited about this. We've been talking about it. And so that is something that we need to do. We need to write these stories and our history. So I think God wants us to record our histories and find the record and record our ancestors' histories so we can have this opportunity to fly where he is and then go onward and then eventually, hopefully, find out the generations where gods began to be, which would lead us to where we fit into this plan, right? And in God's scenario. Just some thoughts about this song. We will dive deeper into this song, into the rest of the verses, but this, I kind of had to give you a little history lesson of the song at first, but we'll talk more about the verses in the coming weeks, the next verses. So, and what you're going to find is that these songs intertwine with what we're learning week to week and month to month. So this is kind of a starting point for what is coming for the week, and I hope you look forward to that. And also, I will put the text to this video on my Substack. So it sounds to me like there's even more generations after Kolob, and that many more places to discover and explore in the world, like we are time travelers. So I will sing this song, and then, that'll be into Music Monday. So if you could hie to Kolob. If you could hie to Kolob in the twinkling of an eye, and then continue onward with that same speed to fly, do you think that you could ever, through all eternity, find out the generation where gods began to be? Bye, everybody. I hope you enjoyed Music Monday.